Our Hangout is on the air live. If you're out there within the sound of my voice, thanks for joining us. My name is Rick, and I am with TuneTrack, and of course we are here this evening on the eve before the launch of EZdrummer 2 to discuss a few of the final features we haven't talked about yet in our product preview, and sort of recap the entire program and make sure that everybody has all their questions answered and quandaries unquandrified. So we're going to wait for just a few minutes while folks are logging on and making sure that everyone's tuned in, see how things are going, make sure everything's moving smoothly. As always, we're broadcasting live from the TuneTrack North American headquarters here in the sunny suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. With me always are my favorite technical advisors and compadres from TuneTrack, whom you can't see, they're off camera, but they'll be here helping us with questions, technical issues, and the sort. So, I think I'm getting the thumbs up from everyone that it's okay for me to start. So, that's 2 thumbs up that I got. Dose thumbs up. Make sure that you go ahead and feel free to also tweet us your questions at hashtag EZdrummer2. You can type in your questions here, as always, into the old Googles as well, and we will try our best to answer everything that we can. So, just a quick update, bring everyone up to speed. The last time we all got together was a few weeks ago, and we had already discussed a lot of the basic functions and features of EZdrummer 2. We talked about the instruments page, we worked through the browser, and we actually spent a little time in the last session going through the search function and feature and turning our groove into a song. So the first thing we're going to do today is sort of finalize or kind of end the rest of the new features with the mixer page and talk about some cool new features there. Then we'll do a really quick recap of the program and start to deal with any questions, concerns, or comments we can. So without further ado, I'm going to switch over to my screen and we're going to pull up EZdrummer 2 and go for it. So we're going to start sharing our screen, and here we are. We are on the instrument properties, instrument construct page. Give everyone a minute to catch up. I know there's a little delay. Everyone should be able to see EZdrummer 2. I'm not hearing anything different from my technical advisors. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to come back up to the top, and you'll see as we've been working on it that we have the browser and the search tabs, which we've gone through, but we're going to focus on the mixer tab right now. So again, the last tab, and it has some familiar functions and features to the original EZdrummer users. So just to kind of put things in perspective, we have our drum kit selected here. It's the original mix kit, which is part of the new core libraries that come with EZdrummer 2 from the modern library. We've gone through our browser to look for a few things and didn't find what we wanted. So we tapped in a groove, and then we wet the groove, find similar grooves in our MIDI file, MIDI library, and we took that library groove that we found and we dragged it down to the song track. We've looped it. Okay, so we'll actually make this groove just a little shorter, move our loop point. Okay, so now that we've got this groove that we dig, let's say that we want to start to work with the mixer and really get into some of the production-oriented features that EZdrummer 2 has to offer for not only the songwriter, but for really the music producer or someone that's actually in the production process of making their song sort of complete or final. So we have what we have loaded here, our original mix kit, and one of the really cool things about EZdrummer 2 is that it comes with 2 libraries. And you see as I highlight these library selections like EZdrummer 2 Modern, you'll see that the original mix kit is what we have loaded. But you'll also see that there are some other presets we could load as well. Those are EZdrummer 2 presets. And basically what they do is take advantage of the new mixer functions and new kind of mixer options that are available in EZdrummer 2. So before we talk about the presets a little bit more, let's look at the mixer. EZdrummer 1 users should find this fairly familiar. It looks very reminiscent of the original mixer in EZdrummer 1. One of the main differences with this particular mixer is there are more outputs in EZdrummer 2 than there were in the original EZdrummer. So for instance, if we had this program open in our DAW and we wanted to route these mixer channels, in EZdrummer 2 you actually have 16 stereo outputs or 32 mono outputs. And you can simply come in and select the output right here from this drop-down menu per channel. You can see clearly we have everything going out because of our stereo mix right now in standalone mode. But if we were in our DAW and we wanted this to go to output 2, again, really simple. And then we would arm and engage the corresponding channels in our DAW to receive the channel outputs. Kind of nice to have 32 mono outs. Very, very, very great for production and sculpting your sound even after the fact. But what's really cool about EZdrummer 2 is you can actually start to sculpt a pretty polished sound right within the program. So again, we have the original mix pulled up, and you'll see that with the original mix, it also gives us sort of this control box down here. Let's play our groove. You can see what channels are active. Obviously, we can adjust these any way we want to. Make the hats louder. We can solo things. Simple enough. We can change the stereo field. We can come into this drop-down menu, and we can have the audience perspective, which again will change the positioning of the drums in the sound field. We'll go back to the drummer's perspective, which is the standalone, the standard view. And then you'll also notice we've got some extra slots for our percussion items that we talked about earlier. So if we were to actually come down here now and start to work with this mic bleed box, we'll notice the minute we touch the snare knob, you see the actual channel that this knob applies to gets highlighted. Dial that back. And what we're doing is pulling the mic bleed out. So if we solo this, clearly you can hear there's some bleed in this particular snare drum bottom. You can hear the kick drum. By lowering that, you can pull that bleed all the way out. And again, this is the original mix. So this is a preset function designed specifically for this kit. See, same thing with the overheads, the ambience. Whatever channel you're affecting with your mix decision will always be highlighted so you can tell what's happening and better pay attention. But what's really cool is, as we talked about before, EZdrummer 2 comes with a number of these amazing EZdrummer 2 presets. So for instance, if we were to load the metal preset, you'll notice that you get an entirely new mixer selection that corresponds to this preset, and you also have a different sort of effects setting. Now it should be mentioned that these presets have a number of things going on sort of behind the scenes. It's very reminiscent of our EZdrummer 2 program, where lots of very big and very complicated mixing and routing decisions are all happening behind the scenes, and you have access to their final results with simple knob turns and dials, making it very, very easy to sort of dial in very professional and very polished sounding drum performances. So again, we've loaded the metal kit. Let's take a listen. Okay. If we change the decay, obviously this is going to all correspond to the reverb, so we can crank that up, bring the decay back, or bring it full on, right? So, and again, depending on what preset you actually load, it's going to change what you get as far as effects go. So for instance, in this prog rock kick, you see we have a tape emulator, some reverb, some delay, and some modulation. So again, if we want to mess with the tape, clearly it's affecting these 4 channels. If we want to work with the reverb, obviously there's a reverb channel, the feedback for the reverb and delay, the time on the delay. Can bring that back if we want. We could also work with the phaser on this one. Well, that's everybody's favorite boingy progressive drum sound. Very popular. So as you can see, the more presets you have, the more options or creative places you have to start. So what's really cool about EZdrummer 2 is you'll notice as I am in my drop-down menu looking through my libraries, we also have the vintage library. So we could pull that up, and that will not only change the drum mixer, but obviously the drums from the vintage library, also included in EZdrummer 2. But you'll notice in my drop-down menu I have obviously all of our EZX titles, our original EZX titles from EZdrummer 1. We thought it would be really, really cool to update all of our original EZX titles with some of these new EZdrummer 2 presets, and that's exactly what we've done. So now the EZXs that you may have had for years, now remember the original EZdrummer came out in 2006. One of the very first EZX libraries was Vintage Rock, and we've added not only the original mixer presets from the original EZdrummer, but a number of new EZdrummer 2 mixer presets as well to give you wonderful creative starting points. And the best thing about it is that we've updated all of the EZXs for free. Right? That's right, I said for free. Your existing EZXs will receive these updated EZdrummer 2 presets upon loading, installing, and authorizing the EZdrummer 2 software. So all of your EZXs will immediately become a little bit more valuable as they have new sound sets, effects, and mixer presets built in. So for instance, if we were to go back to Vintage Rock, again, these would be all of the original presets from Vintage Rock, but let's pick up this, this new Rock preset. Obviously, you can see the new graphics. We can come back to the mixer and see that we've got some reverb, some EQ, some compression, and some mic bleed. See, the mic bleed is for the overhead, so if we pull that all the way off, so now it's just the overheads. The compressor, obviously working with snare drum top and the toms. The master EQ. The reverb channel here. So again, maybe an EZX you've owned since the beginning. Again, having some new life and some new options breathed into it through the magic of EZdrummer 2. And again, this will continue to be the trend as we release new EZX expansion titles. Obviously, we'll be designing new EZdrummer 2 presets for all of our upcoming EZX titles, and there are many slated as well. Something else, just while we're talking about, again, a recap here, while we're working with the mixer, if you find yourself in a position where you're working with a kit and you need a little bit more information on the kit, you can always come over to the menu option and you can always go ahead and click the Sound Libraries tab and open the sound library MIDI layout, if you'd like, that you're looking for. Here it's going to give you a keyboard map to where all your notes are for that particular EZX library. So if you want to start working with a MIDI controller, it'll also give you some information, which is pretty cool, about how the library was recorded, which may actually influence your decision to use it. Very, very cool for all of the different EZXs. So as you can see, I'm just going to scroll through a couple of EZdrummer 2 presets on various EZXs and kits and let you just sort of hear some of the differences as they go through. You can see again all the graphics have been updated. Here's the actual original pop rock library from EZdrummer 1. Also a fresh update. The classic, one of everybody's favorites. Again, these presets go on and on and on and on, and can be a great starting point to sort of create some really, really, really interesting music. So again, we can bring the kick focus, then the EQ, make the snare brighter. We can pull the ambience down, pull the reverb down, add some sustain, then we can bring the reverb back up, so on and so forth. Literally anything that you do or change has an instant effect on the sound that will hopefully spark or inspire some creativity, or even allow you to basically complete your entire drum production without ever leaving the program. If you've got everything set the way you like it, you can simply save your session as an EZdrummer 2 project, and all your mixer settings, all your effect settings, everything you've done with MIDI will all be captured in the actual saved program. Sound cool? I can't hear you, but I'm presuming everybody's saying yes. So I'm going to switch back over to my face again, and we're going to answer some questions. And then we'll do a quick last-minute run-through of the program, answer any final questions, and move on from there. So I'm going to go ahead, pull it up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, as that will be hallucinating, and we're back. So now I'm going to rudely talk to two other people in the room that you can't see, just so that I can get some questions pointed my way and we can get some answers to you. So let's start with the first question for the evening. Gentlemen.
Is EZdrummer 2 64-bit?
Is EZdrummer 2 64-bit? And the answer is yes. It is a 64-bit program. It has two different modes, 32-bit mode, 64-bit mode. It's AAX compliant, VST compliant, AU compliant. If there is something it needs to comply to, it basically works. So it is designed to work with the most updated and powerful operating systems out there. Good question. Next question.
Should I update all my EZX packs after I install the upgrade for EZdrummer 2?
Well, the first thing you'll want to do, and the question is, should I upgrade all my EZX packs before or after I install EZdrummer 2? first and foremost, you want to install EZdrummer 2 and allow it to do what it does with your core libraries and the EZXs you have already. A lot of that will actually be handled in that upgrade. There's not going to be a lot in most instances that you'll have to do, and if there is an update that's required for your EZX or a particular EZX, it will be found in your account at tunetrack.com and ready to go for you. But you would do that after. You definitely want to install the program first, make sure that it's up and running, registered, authorized, and working, and then any EZXs that might need to be updated that weren't handled by the already EZdrummer 1 to EZdrummer 2 update, you'd want to go ahead and do that after the fact. Great question. Next.
Should I buy EZdrummer 2 or Superior Drummer 2?
This question is, should I buy EZdrummer 2 or Superior Drummer 2? And as the guy that works for TuneTrack, the obvious answer is both. But I think the root of the question is, why would you buy one over the other? And that's a subjective answer. They're both designed to do things wonderfully, but they're both designed to do two totally different things. And although their tasks overlap, EZdrummer 2, as the sequel to EZdrummer, has really carved out a niche as a new product that's been designed to aid and facilitate songwriting, creativity, and drum production sort of in a self-contained environment. Superior Drummer is and always has been sort of the industry standard as far as drum tweakability, production tweakability. There have been a lot of other things that have come and gone, but Superior Drummer 2.0 is, again, sort of stood the test of time as far as features, functions, and reasons for people to use it in the production process a little more intensively. So I always use the analogy, if you're a guy that wants to get in and micromanage and tweak snare drum sounds for 3 days, Superior Drummer is probably more in line with what you'd want to do, because it's going to have a lot more functionality geared towards that. If you're the person that wants to start writing music and have a polished, clean drum sound from the get-go, EZdrummer 2 might be kind of a way to start off with, because you're going to have all of the tools from a creative standpoint to build your tracks quicker and more effectively. Now, what's great with Superior Drummer 2.0 is that it's the top of the food chain for us here at TuneTrack, so all of our drum products work in Superior 2.0, and that includes EZdrummer 2. So the two new core libraries that come with EZdrummer 2 will also open in Superior Drummer, as will, by the way, all of the new producer presets, not producer presets, the EZdrummer 2 presets that we were just talking about. Those will also open in their preset form in Superior Drummer 2.0. There will be an update for Superior Drummer sometime this week that makes that functionality possible, but now you can even open some of those cool new presets in Superior and start working with those in that advanced engine as well. So it's not really a matter of having one or the other. It's if you're starting out, which one do you think will be of more use to you? But certainly by the time you get to Superior, you have access to the entire world of EZdrummer 2 and Superior Drummer 2, which is quite a lot of drum options. So you really can't go wrong either way.
Can I add effects in the mixer?
Can you add effects in the mixer of EZdrummer 2? And I'm going to presume that you're asking if you can open your own VST or RTAS plugins within the mixer. And the answer would be no. The only effects that are available are the pre-configured effects chains and effects sets that we actually have designed in the program itself. Sorry.
I want to know if they can add those effects.
Oh, can you add those effects? Meaning,
like say you want to add some reverb to a preset that doesn't have.
So let's say you want to bring a component into a preset that doesn't exist. So for instance, let's say that the preset only has mic bleed and you'd like to add reverb. Again, that's the entire nature of the preset, is that it's kind of self-contained and completely designed to offer that solution the way we think. So no, unfortunately, you can't mix and match the effects the way you might want to in a normal mixer or in your DAW. But that is the great thing about 32 mono outputs or 16 stereo outputs, 2 sets of 16. So it's you can use the effects in your DAW any way you'd want to. Good question.
Will new EZXs work in EZdrummer 1?
Will new EZX libraries work in EZdrummer 1? Big negator. As a matter of fact, once you've upgraded to EZdrummer 2, it should be noted that that will be the new version of EZdrummer on your system. The two programs, EZdrummer 1 and EZdrummer 2, will not and do not work side by side. EZdrummer 2 basically becomes your new EZdrummer. So once you've upgraded to EZdrummer 2, you won't have a problem. But new EZXs with the new effects, presets, and the things that will not work in the original EZdrummer.
My TuneTrack Solo is 32 bits. Do I need to install a 64-bit solo?
Great question. The question is, my TuneTrack Solo is 32-bit. Do I need to install the 64-bit version? Now, if you don't know what Solo is, that's okay. Solo is the standalone sort of shell that hosts our drum programs, or used to host our drum programs. Right now, the only thing you need Solo for is Superior Drummer, because EZdrummer 2 opens in standalone mode without the need for Solo. And there is a 32-bit version or a 64-bit version, or both, that you can install once you download and install the program. But make no mistake, EZdrummer 2 does not require Solo. Just like EZKeys or EZMix 2. You do not need those programs, so the Solo program, to open EZdrummer 2. Next. Okay, we have one last question, or one last sort of misconception we sort of need to clear up. Of course, you're all aware of the internet and how the internet works. So we have some confusion, it seems, possibly, as to how this EZX transition and the new core libraries in EZdrummer 2 work. And of course, nothing's ever wrong on the internet. So we just want to help gently coerce the internet's facts back into the light. So the first misconception, or the first not truth, or internet nonsense, is that the core libraries in EZdrummer 2 are the same libraries that were in EZdrummer 1. That is not true. The EZdrummer 1 pop rock library was recorded in 2006, and the EZdrummer 2 libraries were recorded in 2010 on a completely different continent in a completely different studio. So, no physics major am I, but fairly familiar with the time-space continuum and how that works. Those two things cannot be the same. You follow me? So, the 2010 recordings at British Grove were done by Chuck Ainlay, as opposed to the pop rock library from the original EZdrummer, which was recorded by Pat Thrall and Neil Dorsman in 2006. You will also notice quite a large gap between 6 and 10. Again, time-space continuum, not the same programs. Now, your EZX libraries. Your EZXs are the same recordings as well. When you load them into EZdrummer 2, they do not magically change into new recordings. There will not be magical instruments added or things that were not there prior to their original existence. They have just been augmented. They've been sort of souped up with the addition of these EZdrummer 2 presets. And the presets are all effects and mixer driven. So basically what you're hearing is different takes and configurations of these instruments you may be very familiar with. So again, EZdrummer 2 comes with 2 brand new libraries. 2. And each library has its own set of drums, cymbals, so on and so forth. One is the modern library, one is the vintage library. You get them both. Now, one last bone of confusion. When you upgrade from EZdrummer 1 to EZdrummer 2, you will keep your original pop rock library that was the core library in EZdrummer 1. It will get upgraded. You just heard us play through it a moment ago. We'll look at it again in a second. So if you're an existing EZdrummer user, you kind of win, because not only do you get the 2 brand new libraries of the modern library and the vintage library, but you also get the original pop rock library that was recorded with EZdrummer 1. So it's win-win-win-win for everybody. So everything sounds great. Everything is unique and separate. Nothing was recorded at the same time. Nothing's being rehashed. It's all beautiful. And now we've set the record straight. And I'm getting flagged from one of my producers that we have another question. So a wonderful segue.
2 questions. First one, can I use MIDI files from other drum libraries?
The first question of a 2-part question is, can I use MIDI files from other drum libraries or other MIDI manufacturers? And the answer is a resounding yes, absolutely. The drag and drop functionality of EZdrummer 2 not only works from EZdrummer to your DAW, but from your desktop or your DAW to EZdrummer. So you can take any drum MIDI file you want to and drag it to the song timeline and start to work with it or manipulate it any way you'd like, just as if it were TuneTrack MIDI in standalone mode.
They may not be that correct.
Now, I'm getting producers, so I apologize, but this is good stuff. There is something to be said about MIDI mapping, and if you're not familiar with MIDI mapping, again, certain drum machines, certain software programs have unique maps that identify where particular sounds should go, and that's why it's always helpful to go to that menu and look to see where our sounds are mapped to. Because ultimately, if you're dragging a MIDI groove into EZdrummer 2, you're trying to get the sounds out of EZdrummer 2 clearly that are there. You want to make sure that the kick is where the kick should be, the snare is where the snare should be, and the included MIDI maps in our EZdrummer program with all of our sound libraries that we showed will help you make sure that those things are in the right place. Second part question.
Second. Well,
it's always great when they give you that look like, whoa.
Will EZdrummer work any better, or EZdrummer 2 work any better with electronic drum kits than EZdrummer?
The question is, will EZdrummer 2 work any better with electronic drum kits than the original EZdrummer did? And the answer again is yes. That was a very, very highly requested feature for the new program, and we actually have sort of a stripped down version of the Superior Drummer eDrum interface menu available in EZdrummer 2 that we'll look at in a second. I'll show you where it is, but it has some presets for obviously the most popular and most familiar kits on the marketplace that you can select from, where everything should map according to the way that those brains are mapped out, Roland, Yamaha, Lisa, so on and so forth. And there's also a couple of small options for some pedal correction functions as well. It's not in-depth eDrums like Superior Drummer is. Again, that's why it's Superior Drummer. But the idea of A, not having to use solo to open the program, you can just open in standalone mode, and then B, select a map for one of the popular brains that you probably have, and you should be ready, kind of plug and play, ready to go, should make the eDrumming experience much, much, much easier. No pun intended. Producers, any other questions? Anyone else? Okay, so this is the last call for questions. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. We're going to look at EZdrummer 2. We're going to do a quick overview. We're going to look at the broad strokes, make sure that everybody understands everything. Tomorrow's the big day. May 6th, 2014 is the official release of EZdrummer 2. So if you're an existing EZdrummer user, tomorrow you can contact your favorite retailer and get your upgrade to EZdrummer 2. If you've never owned the original EZdrummer, you can just simply contact your favorite retailer and go ahead and start off with EZdrummer 2. So let's go right back to the program. We're going to do the kind of the 30,000 feet in the air overview. We'll answer any final round of questions, and then we'll kind of see where it goes from there, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Screen share, sharing, and scene. Okay. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the modern kit. You can hear in the actual the drum set sort of presentation. We're on the drums page, by the way. Again, we've got our tabs going across top. This is the simple basic kit. Wherever you see the triangle and the circle, you have a drop-down menu that will allow you to change instruments, change the hats, change whatever we want to. Go on, we can change this particular drum. We want to change snare drum. We have a list of drums we can choose from. Now, when we're in this mode, we can preview all the velocities of a drum. We can change the pitch. We can actually even change the volume pre-mixer. Make it as loud as we want to. And new and unique to EZdrummer 2, we can mix and match drums for our existing EZX libraries. So right now we see that we're in the snare drum list here from the EZdrummer 2 Modern library, but if I wanted to go into the snare drum list for Metal Machine now I could, and we can just put that drum in there, raise the pitch, and be all metaled out. Now, we don't want to do that, and there's a couple ways we could fix that. We could go to the kit and we could just load the default Drum Workshop kit. It'll come back. Another great function, you can load an empty kit if you just want to start off and grab different drums from different places. Very cool stuff. So, we also have percussion pads. We have a one-shot, a shaker, and a tambourine, and they also have a couple of different instrument selections as well. We have our song track at the bottom, and the song track has been designed to help us work with MIDI. And what's great about working with MIDI is that EZdrummer 2 has some really cool functions and features that allow you to work with MIDI like never before. Now, if you're familiar with the original EZdrummer, we have our browser, which will basically show you all of your loaded MIDI packs and allow you to scroll through them like you normally would. You can actually kind of see I have a lot of MIDI loaded. Over here, on the right-hand side, we have a new function that will allow you to kind of create your own user MIDI database. So you can add folders, drag things that are awesome to your folder. So now you've got your own particular folder. You can rename it, move things, organize MIDI the way you want to so that you have a unique experience when searching for things. And again, this particular browser looks very similar to the original EZdrummer. But when you go to the search tab, that's when things come alive. So let's get rid of this MIDI here. Let's remove it, and let's come here, and we've got a bunch of functions and features. This page has a lot of depth to it, but our first function, tap to find, let's go ahead and clear some things out of here. If we're looking for a groove and we know the groove we're looking for, it's really simple. we can open a dialog that lets us tap it straight into the program. And you see that it clears up the quantization. We can even make the quantization better. Ooh, that's horrible. Let's go quarter notes and see what happens. We don't like that. So we can actually come in here and let's clear the kick. There we go. All right, now let's see if we can find something like that. Okay, so here's our groove. And now what we're seeing here is EZdrummer 2 is searched through all of our available MIDI that we have loaded on our hard drive, and it's showing us the percentage of matches we have for that groove. So for instance, here's a 70% match. Let's listen. Kind of cool. Very busy, but I like it. Let's try this other one. All right, you know, that's really not what we started with, but I kind of dig it. So I'm going to drag this groove down to the timeline, and I'm actually going to shorten it a little. Now, what you can see here also is that I had a number of filters. If I wanted to look for things, if I knew the actual library my MIDI came from, the genre I was looking for, whether I was looking for a beat or a fill or the playing style, there's all kinds of filters that I could have actually applied to help me whittle down the exact groove I'm looking for. But what's really cool is with all these matches, I can actually grab pieces from the other matches to complete the groove the way I hear it in my head. So here's our groove. We've got it looped. We can turn our looping on. What I don't like is the hi-hat. Let's hear this groove. Okay, this is kind of cool. It's a little busy, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this groove. But you know what I want to do is I'm going to come down to my other groove, and then when I hit paste, I'm going to just paste the toms. Let's hear what that sounds like. And that actually makes, in my mind anyway, my hi-hat pattern seem a little more tolerable. If I didn't like that, I could simply undo. And let's say that I wanted to go back and just paste the snare drum. Let's see what we got. Simple enough. I like that. And you can keep doing this all the way through every single groove you have. So if we were to grab that, now there's the toms I'm looking for. Then we can just paste the toms from that groove. Now it's here. Not very practical, but I dig it. So I've got a groove that I like, and now I want to tweak it even more. So we go into our revolutionary edit play style feature by double-clicking on the MIDI groove, and what we see is the representation of everything contained in our groove. So we'll hit play. And you can see that there's an orange halo around everything that's all playing. You can actually come into this drop-down menu and you could select variations of what's playing. And anything that actually has a green square in front of it is active in your MIDI file. So you'll notice a couple of things. We've got a dialog box here that says power hand and another one that says opening hit. Opening hit is exactly what you think it is. If we turn that on, it's going to add a crash or an opening hit in this case to the one of the groove. Now, what's cool about the opening hit is that it doesn't have to be a crash. It could be anything. It could be the snare drum. Simple enough. But now that I hear it, I really don't want it. So let's turn that off. Then our power hand. And the power hand actually is kind of our little special name for the drummer's lead instrument. If you're a right-handed drummer, it'll be your right hand. It's sort of what you're going to lead yourself around the kit with. You'll see we've got sort of this hi-hat groove. So one of the cool things with the power hand is we can change that groove's articulation. Right now it's on the tight edge. We can make it a closed tip. Or let's say we don't want the hi-hat anymore. We want the ride cymbal. Simply drag the power hand to the ride cymbal. And we can also change the articulation when we're there as well. We could ride the edge. Or bring it back to the hi-hat. So the power hand literally allows you to drag the drummer's lead instrument wherever you want it. And you'll notice that as I'm dragging it, it's affecting the MIDI in real time as well. You can see once it lands somewhere, it's writing the MIDI information, so on and so forth. So now that we've got that going, let's go ahead and use kind of our favorite new feature here at TuneTrack, and that's the amount knob. And let's start with the hi-hat. Right now, I'm going to solo the hi-hat. You'll see it's selected because it's got the orange halo. Let's listen to it. You know, it's cool, but maybe it's more than I want. Let's dial that back a little bit. Simply take the amount knob, and you can actually use the increase or decrease buttons. And I'm pulling hi-hat back. And then let's raise the velocity a little as well. Cool. So, as you can see, that's pretty awesome. But now, let's do the same thing with the snare. Let's solo it. Let's hear what it sounds like. I'd like the snare a little busier. So let's increase the snare. And what you're seeing again is kind of an amazing feat. Before I go any further, the amount knob is actually taking advantage of a very unique algorithm that the design team at TuneTrack has sort of designed. And what this algorithm does is it's scanned all 85,000 plus MIDI performances that we've recorded in our illustrious 15-year career. And that algorithm then looks at those MIDI files and MIDI performances and anticipates what a drummer will do most of the time in this musical situation. Meaning that it's not just simply adding numeric value. It's not adding one hit and then two hits and then three hits. It's listening to the groove and based on other grooves like it, determining what a real human being did in that particular instance and applying that sort of musicality. So it's literally different for every instrument and it's different for every groove. So as we're playing through this groove, you're not just hearing math adding notes. You're hearing the drums react to a drummer thinking the way a drummer would think. You're literally talking to your drummer. So as we're playing again, it's a little too busy, and then let's bring it back a little volume-wise. Now let's pretty awesome stuff. It also should be pointed, if I was to grab everything playing, and let's say we wanted to work with velocity now. You know, velocity for a lot of virtual instruments is just an over-glorified volume control. But velocity really is so much more than that when you're working with a drum instrument. And the level of detail we've achieved at TuneTrack with our velocity control is second to none. Let's watch what happens as we tell our drummer to start playing quieter. That's the mom's home sort of approach. You can tell all the drums get relatively quieter and the performance changes. So does the sound set. What you're hearing are drums sampled at a different volume. It's not just the lowering of the overall volume. It's an actual physical reaction to what we're asking. And let's turn it back up. Let's just blaze through it. But we can come back to right where we're at. And now the other great thing that we learned about our edit play style is right now, again, you can see instruments that are in the groove, but you see a number of instruments not in the groove. With edit play style, you can add things into your existing MIDI that weren't there before. As if we don't have enough toms, let's add more. You know, let's remove that last one. Let's come over here and let's remove this one. And actually, let's remove this one too. That started there, but now I don't want it. And let's move the power hand to the floor tom. All right. And the final thing that's pretty cool about this function is we have our percussion pad and our one-shot pad from the front page. Let's say we want to add a tambourine to this groove. Very simple. Let's turn the tambourine on, and you'll see that it starts playing. And since it's highlighted, let's go ahead and add some different musicality to it as well. You know, I want to bring that other tom back now. And you know, I'm happy with that groove. So let's leave edit play style. And even though it's just a groove, I think it's a great starting point for a song. So I want to find other like grooves so that I can start creating my song. I could simply drag this finished groove back into Tap to Find, and now it can find other grooves in my library for me, similar to this, that might go with the groove I had. Or I can simply click on the Song Creator tab, drag that MIDI to the Song Creator, and the Song Creator is going to scan my entire loaded MIDI database and find all of the appropriate or corresponding grooves to help me create a song. So it's going to find some that'll work for the intro. It'll find some that'll work for pre-choruses, choruses, endings, fills. Everything I need is here to start dragging and dropping. I can actually put fills in. I can work with the MIDI any way I want to and start to craft my song before I even open my DAW. As if that wasn't simple enough, let's say that I didn't want to go that route. I could simply come over to this particular part of the Song Creator and grab any one of these existing templates in pretty traditional song styles and formats, AA, BA, long, short, and I can load these straight into the timeline. And there you go. Now I've got an entire song in a format ready to go for me to write over. Pretty cool stuff. And at any particular point in time, I can go into any one of these grooves and edit it any way I want to until I have it so perfect and so dialed in that I can either grab everything the way that it exists and drag it to my desktop or straight into my DAW, or I could export it as audio. It'll bounce out as a stereo 24-bit WAV file. And again, you could come on this drop-down menu and export as MIDI WAV any way you want to. But what's even cooler is, let's say I'm ready now to work with my mixer. We can close our song track. Just like we said before, we can come to a particular part of the song. We can loop some areas. Let's come over here and loop this area and just kind of work with some sound sets. That's cool because we're using the original mix. Let's bring up the vintage. We've got bleed on the kick. Let's put more bleed in. Bring the tape drive on everything back. Maybe bring it up a little brighter. You know, that's pretty cool. But let's go to Metal Machine and let's grab this distorted preset. Got some reverb. That's not really working for me on this song. I kind of like that other one. You know, indie folk is pretty cool. Let's play with these new mallet presets. There we go. We could kill the reverb. We could kill the ambience. We could even kill the overheads. And you can see you could do this all day, every day, until you find exactly what you're looking for. You can spend as much or as little time as you'd like to on dialing in the final sounds. So, there's a lot going on here, and that was a real quick overview. Obviously, there's videos that we've released, even just recently, that go into a little more detail about how the program works, what the features and benefits are. And here's the original Pop Rock Kit. Actually, let's bring up the basic Pop Rock Kit. Fantastic. So, I'm going to come back to my screen. I'm going to stop sharing. You have to look at me again, and boom, I'm back. Okay, so we just did a real down and dirty sort of overview, rewind, summary of how awesome EZdrummer 2 is. I don't need to tell you that. That's why you're tuned in. So here we go. It's our last round of questions before the product is available to you to have at your own discretion for the rest of your life and really start to dig in and dial into it tomorrow. So I'm going to go to the producers now for the last set of questions, and here we go.
Will existing projects be affected by the EZdrummer 2 upgrade? Like when you open a project in a DAW, with EZdrummer 1, will there be any issues?
So the question is, will existing EZdrummer projects be affected negatively by installing EZdrummer 2? So what does that mean? So it means that you've written a song, maybe even recently, with EZdrummer. It's saved in your DAW. Everything's saved, everything's there, everything's routed, everything's set up. And now that you're going to install EZdrummer 2, will the installation of EZdrummer 2 affect or negate your already saved EZdrummer projects? And the answer is no. It's going to install right over that path. So when you open your project that was saved with EZdrummer, the only thing you'll notice differently is that EZdrummer 2 will now be in its place, and you'll have more amazing sounds and options to work with. But it won't disrupt your project at all. All of your existing EZdrummer projects will stay intact.
Will Song Creator work in my DAW?
Will Song Creator work in your DAW? That's a very general question.
Yes and no.
Uh,
The MIDI has to be in the EZdrummer track for the song creator work when you drag it out and put it in the DAW.
right. So let me try and get to the root of this question. When you open EZdrummer 2 in your DAW and you're working with MIDI in the actual Song Creator in EZdrummer 2, yes. Just because it's in your DAW, it'll still work just fine in EZdrummer 2, the program, on the actual track. It will not work on a DAW track or an external MIDI track. It has to work inside the program. So as long as the program is open, let's say in Pro Tools, and you have the program open, you can just drag your MIDI to and from the actual song track in EZdrummer 2, and once you have everything on the song track the way you like it, or you work with the Song Creator, then you can drag it out to your DAW track or an existing MIDI track, and everything will be there the way you have it just fine. So yes and no. You just have to do it the right way. It won't work on a MIDI track in your DAW. It will only work in EZdrummer 2.
Will Tap to Find search through other drum libraries or just tune track libraries?
Tap to Find at the moment will only search through your existing tune track libraries. And the reason is because that's the only MIDI we have access to, and we've tagged it. So, I mean, all of those 85,000 files were actually individually tagged by human beings so that they could be relevant and applicable. And tune track MIDI, new MIDI, will continue to be tagged in real time. Unfortunately, we don't have access to everybody else's MIDI, so it's not tagged to correspond to the system looking. So Tap to Find, for the moment, until technology is different or we get a full-time team of millions of people to scour the internet and tag all the drum MIDI available, Tap to Find is only going to work with tune track drum MIDI for now, which is actually pretty cool. 85,000 grooves is kind of a great starting point.
Does it export each track as a WAV file or the whole mix?
Does it export each track as its own individual WAV file or as a stereo mix? And the answer is as a stereo mix. So if you have your song track out, it will export it as a stereo mix. However, the workaround for that is, if you need one, is to just go in the mixer and solo your tracks so that as it's shooting the audio out, it's only shooting out the track you have soloed, which would be the workaround if you didn't want to just route into your DAW. Simple enough. Anybody else?
That's a big difference between Easy and Superior.
That is a difference actually between EZdrummer and Superior, is that Superior Drummer will bounce your tracks individually, multi-track style, where EZdrummer will not. So again, another little difference, maybe another reason to look at both programs. Okay, so over the past month we have talked about a lot of stuff. We have tried to cover as many things as humanly possible. We've tried to answer every question honestly and openly. We have spent $0 on the production of this particular installment of things. We have shot in real time and tried to remain as accessible and as human as possible. We realize that you guys are out there and you're real. You have real questions and you're thinking about spending real money. And EZdrummer 2 is $149.99. It's $150, and that's a lot of money in any economy. And we want you to have as much information about the product as possible. There's a lot of information out there, tons of stuff. We have a lot of videos. Like I said, if you go to YouTube and you just type in EZdrummer 2, there's a couple of things you can look at. There's an introduction video that's done really wonderfully and beautifully that walks through all of the features in their most basic form. There's a really cool video out there where we invited the press to the actual studio, British Grove, to listen to the original drum kits we recorded and sort of do a shootout, which is something most manufacturers won't do, let you behind the curtain to see, does it sound as good as the original? And then there's some other great videos out there too. There's obviously the other product previews we've done. We're going to continue to be releasing videos. With the product release tomorrow, there'll even be some new videos coming out. So we have a lot in store. Tomorrow is just the beginning, and it's a glorious beginning at that. So on behalf of myself, my top secret producers and friends here at the corporate HQ in Chicago, and our extended family, friends, and relatives at our corporate headquarters in Umeå, Sweden, we couldn't be more humbled, happier, or more delighted to have spent this time with you and be talking about EZdrummer 2. So tomorrow's the big day. It's going to be live at every retail site, live at our web shop. It's available to buy, purchase, look at, feel, touch, be a part of. We really, really hope this helps you stay focused on your craft. We hope EZdrummer 2 both meets and exceeds your expectations, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say about the program once you've had it to use for yourself. My name is Rick. I work for TuneTrack, and I hope you guys have a lovely and glorious evening. the next time we talk, EZdrummer 2 will be out. So enjoy the rest of your night, and we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Thanks for everything.